gentlemen, near and far, far and near, let me be clear. This right here is Black Power Media, and this is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and let me introduce you to your host. Today we have Kalanji Jamachanga and no other than Dr. Jared Ball.
What's up, good people? Hey, that sounded like some Pete Rock. Whose track was that?
That was a random dude. Ooh, my bad. That was a random dude, producer. Yeah, no name.
Okay.
Local.
No name, random dude.
Local
okay.
Damn,
All right. Well, it sounded dope.
Yeah,
a little bit. Sounded a little bit, but he sounded a little, or she or they sounded a little Pete Rockish. So
it did.
they had something. They had something together.
Yeah,
What's up, good people? Greetings to all the remixers.
What it do?
And to my colleagues and comrades and Sister May in the back.
Okay.
What's going on? Hey, everybody, make sure you get out there and tag somebody. Invite somebody to join you this morning. Don't be stingy.
No
Share
doubt.
some of this boom bap breakfast with your
Let them
friends.
know what's going on. We live and direct. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, man? J Ball, what's good?
Nothing, man. Just back in the swing of things at work.
Okay.
Recovering from a wild show yesterday.
Wild show.
Yeah, it was a little wild, and Barrett Brown is a wild dude, man, and unfortunately had to jump off a little early. Got a little emotional, bringing up some serious stuff with his own comrades. So it was a little bit heavy, and then the aftermath of that, the post show conversations are always fascinating, also. So, but other than that, man, how you all doing, man? What's going on?
And I'm alive on arrival. You know what I'm saying?
I'm good. We had a nice weekend. About to head out to Jersey in about an hour. So, but I went to go see 85 South show and the Fox Theater, and it was like it was Smokapalooza up in there. Everybody was blazing. It was I'd never seen the Fox Theater like that. I was surprised, but it was a good show. They brought out T-Pain, Trillville. It was pretty dope.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a dope thing.
Shout out to the remixers asking important questions.
When Renegade Coach
first thing in the morning. Yes, indeed.
I'm gonna put it out there. Nah, you know what I'm saying? They scared of revolution. So you know what I'm saying. So I would like to see it return. You know what I'm saying? Put it in the vote box. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, man.
We still in negotiation contracts with BPM.
Nah. Anyway,
what's up, good people?
Shout out to
I heard that.
What's that?
Yeah,
I miss smoking in venues. Yeah.
No doubt. Salute to Denver. I know you was out there. Denver's definitely on fire always. Shout out to the Reminders out in Denver. You know what I'm saying? They're definitely a dope hip hop group out there.
Yo, Kalanji, how was Bama?
Man, Bama was Bama. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Selma. I was out in Selma this past weekend. Besides me trying to contain myself from all the voter registration stuff they was talking, man, I was glad to be there. And one thing that I got from Selma was a renewed respect for our ancestors and elders on that side of the fence, because just to recognize the bravery that they had to have, to organize in places like Selma, because them white folks is crazy. I mean, I was telling the folks, for one thing, man, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, for folks who are not aware, I was out there for Bloody Sunday, hosted the intergenerational hip hop piece. But for folks who are not aware of Bloody Sunday, it was a time on March 7th when they made an effort to march from Selma to Montgomery. And they were on this bridge, which is called the Edmund Pettus Bridge. But the way the bridge is shaped, you can't see on the other side till you get to the top. And by the time these marchers got to the top, they saw that it was a whole bunch of white police officers and racist town folks who were sitting there with billy clubs and all types of other mace and all kinds of other stuff or whatever to attack them. And they did just that, end up hospitalizing 17 people. And you know, I mean, it was men, women, and children on that particular bridge. But the bridge, the ill thing about it is 57 years later, and the bridge is still called Edmund Pettus Bridge. And Edmund Pettus was the Grand Dragon of the Alabama Ku Klux Klan. You know what I'm saying? I believe he's the governor as well, but they're still calling it. I mean, so it just shows you the respect that they don't have for us. But you know.
Can I just say real quick before I forget? One, I'm glad you were there. I'm glad it was documented to a certain extent, because when the Ava DuVernays returned to make another film about Selma, they might erase you this time as she did Kwame Ture from the first one. So, you know, like we gotta,
Yeah.
you know, and as Mr. Porter, Tom Porter often says, having been there at the original, he says all the time. So another reason why I'm glad you were there to see firsthand, and for some of it to be documented, because as he said of the original, if everybody who claims to have been at the original was there, the bridge would have collapsed.
Amen.
No doubt. Yeah.
Now I want to definitely say there was definitely a surprise fire starter there to assist me in my go off moment, because at the end I kind of borderline snapped. You know what I mean? Because I was like, it's all I can stand, and I can't stand no more. So my man Mukasa came up there.
Oh no!
I can't even repeat some of the stuff he's talking about what's to be done.
Let me guess, Black Power.
It was more than Black Power. You know what I'm saying? He went to it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely Minister Server was in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Server, riding shotgun. You know what I'm saying? We rolled out together. You know, and it was you know, we was giving them that boom bap, original bap, you know. So, you know, it was very interesting. Then the next day they had Kamala, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and MLK III, amongst other White House folks. So you know, of course, we had the boogie. We wasn't trying to, you know, hang out with those characters. But the thing that I found wild about it is Kamala Harris demanded that folks who marched in the first 5 rows had to go through a COVID test. They had some type of COVID test center out there. So you couldn't march in the first 5 rows if you know, if you wasn't tested with her.
What?
I was telling folks when they was telling me about it, I'm like, I don't give about marching with no Kamala Harris. I don't roll with my enemies. I don't take pictures with my enemies, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't pretend. I've said, and I told folks, I'm like, Al Sharpton was CI number 7. He wore a wire, you know what I'm saying? And that's documented. So, you know, stick that in your windpipe.
Take that.
Yeah. So anyway, we here, we back. We made it out of Alabama.
But the only thing I would want to add to that is that even if people don't want to go into the very accurate history that you described regarding Sharpton, I just want to point out that he also just represents, again, as Tom Porter would say, the negation of the negation. That you're there to negate their nonsense, they're there to negate you and the work that we're trying to do. So even if it's not an issue of him actually being a CI, he's been a political CI for just as long. But you are right about that.
I mean, they're all ops, and to me, after, like I said, just seeing the bridge and knowing what happened, and seeing folks like Kamala there. Of course, Obama was there in the past, and so many other different politicians. You know, to me, it's a slap in the face, because all I'm thinking about is the fact that there's so many. You know, we while we're celebrating, or commemorating this particular piece, white folks are looking at it different. It's not like all the Black folks, you know, some of them are still alive, and the white folks that was on the bridge, you know, all died off. Many of them remember that day too. They remember that time period as well. And I literally had to tell folks, you know, while I was on stage, I said that you know, we're not here to celebrate getting our ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is a commemoration, and we got to remember, you know, what it's about, because we get it twisted and think that, you know, with Black folks, everything's a celebration. You know what I'm saying? We're about to celebrate that's why we don't celebrate Black August. We're not celebrating, you know, casualties. You know, we commemorate.
So did you see this? This happened? The Kamala compared civil rights movement to Ukraine.
No, I wasn't. Let the record reflect. I wasn't there with Kamala and them. And you have to understand that when we got there, you know, Secret Service was everywhere. You know what I mean? I mean, they stand in the middle of the street. You driving down the street. I mean, you knew they were Secret Service because these white folks looking at you, and black folks, they're looking at you like, go around me. Not even flinching, not even thinking. I'm talking about the middle of the street. I'm just like, wow. So I wasn't trying to, they had, the schedules listed. So I'm sure they ran through all the names of who the speakers were going to be over those several days. And, so I was just trying to avoid them as much as possible. I wasn't, I definitely didn't come to be nowhere near it. There was events all over the place. So we weren't where those Negroes were, because I know that I'm not, I'm not built for certain things.
Before I get out of here and jump on this plane, how was Moo Fresh performance?
The performance was dope. She delivered. You know what I'm saying? Word. Yeah.
Well, listen, I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a great
safe
show.
Travels. Appreciate your safe travels, all that stuff.
Be safe out there, man.
All right. Trenton, here I come.
Yeah, Trenton, watch out.
Exactly. Watch out, Trenton.
Yeah, watch out, Trenton. But anyway, man, I think that, first of all, I hope some of the footage of Mumu's performance comes out. I didn't see any of it. I'm sure it was dope. And
she was definitely, I mean, she's an artist that earns her stripes, and I think that there's not too many. I think that there needs to be lessons on artistry and how to deliver, because I think that so many folks they think because they can sing or they can rap or whatever that's just going to do it. Your voice is a tool, your voice is a weapon. And we gotta deal with it as such. So so definitely, she held it down.
So I know. So look, we got a number of things to get to this morning. It's me and you hold it down with Sister May in the back, and so we got. But even in his absence, we went and called up some resident or non-resident DJ support. So we're gonna take a quick break and then come back and slap that map. Oh no, we'll get to that later. But we're gonna slap the map first. Is that what we're doing now? No, I'm all confused now.
Okay, see, it's because you dress so fly with that salmon shirt. You know what I'm saying? You just forgot what your job is over here. First, we're going to go to the break, and then we'll come back and slap the map. Welcome to the RemiX Morning Show. So Jared Ball's not used to being here on Tuesdays. So
facts. Here we go.
Let's update them. Anyway, RemiX, Black Power Media. Let's get it.
Store, pushing the truck one stop at a time. Take it away, guys.
mamufini. Tina sokoteli filimi, tina stali will killing me. Sugendeleni dali, mwamba na kuso zenzo chupi. Hapa tuba, waikututa pambili. Kana sisemza bendo, asike mamufini. Tina sokoteli filimi, tina stali will killing me. Sugendeleni dali, mwamba na kuso zenzo chupi. Kalala kumgani, kumegomdana spali. Ikela lomdani pet company, yakuna fele seka sabi sabali. Kalala kumgani, kumegomdana spali. Ikela lomdani pet company, yakuna fele seka sabi sabali. Kalala kumgani, kumegomdana spali. Ikela lomdani pet company, yakuna fele seka sabi sabali. Kalala kumgani, kumegomdana spali. Ikela lomdani pet company, yakuna fele seka sabi sabali. Tana yemfuno gamada, tana yemfuna amanam, same time yemabilu kanyangam. Tana yemfuno gamada, tana yemfuna amanam, same time yemabilu kanyangam. Tana yemfuno gamada, tana yemfuna amanam, same time yemabilu kanyangam. Tana yemfuno gamada, tana yemfuna amanam, same time yemabilu kanyangam. Elomdana, unogambana, milena. Elomdana, unamana, baina. Elomdana, unogambana, milena. Elomdana, unogambana, milena. Enda we, enda we, enda we, enda we, enda we, enda we,
Nipeta mapanzi nezingane zibaya plan Presi Hennessy Izote nisponcha Iplasi platanya na labantwana Babylon Maungate nginis Uzobambi ice Sikadele ilabantwana baba
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is how I like it anyway. Welcome back to the Remix Morning. Ah, damn.
Whatever, man. Don't be trying to come from my. I told y'all, give me a couple minutes. Y'all gonna try to wild out.
They was
I
all
thought this guy
right.
was gone.
They was all right.
Anyway,
Ear doctor back there hating.
super hater.
He saw them DJs getting some love. He was back there hating. This roughing these DJ streets.
Exactly. He's supposed to be gone. He over there talking about, so he up there listening to the groove, trying
Talk
to bite
about-
their style.
Nah, they was turning the knob. It was turning the knobs real good. It was doing
Hey,
great.
man. I know, brother. Thank you. Anyway,
Woo!
welcome to the
Hey,
Remix
well,
Morning Show.
We'll be back to the knob turners later, though.
Yes. And I believe that the map has already been slapped.
Map's been slapped, so let's get into a couple things, and if we can, I would like to start with something that's not on the run sheet because I just saw it just like a few minutes ago.
I wonder if it's the same thing I saw. Probably not.
I'd be surprised, but I don't know. We never know. But this is the one I'm talking about. Which I just thought was fascinating because given, a lot of the narrative that we're hearing about with Russia, Ukraine, a lot of the narrative which this platform and our comrades have been addressing vigorously. This is very interesting. The National Endowment for Democracy deletes records of funding projects in Ukraine, according to Covert Action magazine. The National Endowment for Democracy, a CIA offshoot founded in the early 1980s to advance democracy promotion initiatives around the world, has deleted all records of funding projects in Ukraine from their searchable awarded grants search database. The archived webpage captured February 25th, 2022 from 1453 shows that NED granted $22.394 and some change million in the form of 334 awards to Ukraine between 2014 and the present. So that's $22 million from this one cutout just since 2014. NED President Dwayne Wilson admitted at an NED forum on Ukraine on March 4th that Ukraine was the NED's fourth largest grant-making program around the world. Wilson said that the endowment is proud that we have had Ukraine as a major partner since 1989, before independence, supporting Ukraine's civil society organizations, end quote. So it's just fascinating the way, so they talk about how, Ukraine war crimes are not covered, but Russian war crimes are. So again, we're not saying Russia's innocent. We're just saying, at least I'm not saying Russia's innocent, but, I'm just saying Ukraine is just being projected as purely without flaw. And this combats. So anyway, the large scope of NED's program makes clear the organization's importance. However, with Biden's administration intent on preserving the fiction that the Russian invasion counteroffensive was unprovoked, censorship and the deletion of records is necessary. So the U.S. just wants to scrub it being involved in the background of all of this, and to again make it seem like Russia and Putin just out of nowhere, did what they did. So
just start beefing, right? Wow. We expect that. But the crazy thing about it is every time they scrub, it's like we already saw it. You know what I'm saying? It's already documented. Someone already caught it. You know what I mean? So it's almost like when you're dealing with the government, it's almost like just like when you are you have to download your own particular material to make sure that you have it archived just in case it's knocked out the box. You got to do the same thing with them. You see a hot story, whatever, you got to screen shoot it and make sure that it's on point. If not, we got a problem. Definitely shout out to Tafari. Happy born date to you, brother.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Good to see you on deck. How's he, like 26 now?
I have no idea.
He's been in 26 since I met him. But speaking of Tafari,
I'm not getting into Biden's crypto. So actually, I'm not up on Biden's latest cryptocurrency. Anyway, go ahead.
Nah, it's all good. Definitely shout out to my man Rough Mike, who transitioned 4 years ago yesterday.
Oh wow!
From Precise Science. So definitely shout out to him. And I also want to he was a good dude for sure. I just saw Griffin comments. Shout out to Griff as well. We did we was doing these books and beat tours back in the day. So that was
I remember that.
Yeah. So we had a real good time with that. Folks like Cyrock and Star and Ty here, Precise Science. career for myself, so it was a real good thing back then. Definitely want to shout out also Dennis Cunningham, the movement attorney who was the co-founder of People's Law Office in Chicago. Made his transition a couple of days ago. He worked on, for one thing, he worked on was the 12-year civil prosecution of FBI agents, state's attorneys, and Chicago police in regards to the raid where they assassinated Chairman Fred Hampton and Deputy Defense Captain Mark Clark. He also worked to defend Big Black and the Attica brothers. You know what I'm saying? I believe he's like 85, 86 years old. So definitely salute to him for his work. He's one of those white folks that put their money and their energies where their mouth was. So we salute those efforts.
Right on.
Yeah. But
anyway, yeah. Go ahead. Did you want to go? What was the story you found?
I'm riding a shotgun.
I thought you said you found a story that you thought I might have found as well. Did you?
No, it was actually around in regards to Dennis Cunningham. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Oh, right on. Okay.
Yeah. But
okay.
I got this big interview tonight, so I'm just gonna ride shotgun with you. You know what I'm saying? For
okay. What's happening tonight?
We will have Dr. Wesley Muhammad on Riot Started TV.
Right. I keep forgetting what today is. Yeah.
Yes, he wants to respond to an interview we did with Baba Zach Kondo about 10, 12 days ago. So
and Kondo was very clear and invited. I think he mentioned Wesley by name and others.
Yes,
He invite to come out and basically cop to the nation's involvement in Malcolm's assassination?
Well, I think
we can. Right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that his point? So that we can move on and get past it.
Well, he mentioned them, but I think he specifically was speaking to Minister Farrakhan. So
right.
Wesley, I got a call a few days ago from a nephew who's in the nation up in up north. I'm gonna just say that, and he was like, "Hey, I saw. Did you see Dr. Wesley's post on the interview you did with Zach Kondo?" I was like, "Nah." And then he's like, "Yeah, I saw Jay Electronica had posted it to his story." I didn't get to see that part, but yeah. So we end up talking and whatnot. So he'll be on the show tonight at 7 p.m. So remixes and all good people, make sure that you all check out this interview. And we're gonna ask whatever.
Jay Electronica. Wow.
Yeah, well, he runs with their crew, so
right. But I'm just so what was up with that whole marriage of his
with
the heiress,
whiteness,
yeah, the white woman, but like when you say white, that is almost unfair.
No. When I say white, that white means something. It's not just regular white.
That's what I'm saying. It's like almost unfair.
Yeah,
because she was a Rockefeller or a Rothschild. Which was it? One of them.
Rothschild, I believe.
Rothschild. One of them.
Yeah, that whole shit was weird. I'm still.
What was going on? Anyway.
I ain't trying to diss the brother, but God,
I'm not dissing either. I just find it. I admit. Wild confusion. I never looked into it. I was never that interested or curious.
Me neither. I thought it was a hoax at first because, right. From Erykah Badu to Rothschild. I mean, that's hey man.
I mean, honestly, even beyond just the racial thing or even the class thing.
No,
but I guess it is kind of a class question because I'm part. I was like, how do you even how do you all even meet? Like, where is the Anyway,
hey man,
I don't know. It was just fast. Anyway, but I look forward to the interview.
Yeah, the reality is, the world watches Black people. The world watches African people, and I think that we're in our minds. We think that folks that we can't reach don't see us. You understand what I'm saying? We're specimens. We're studied. So they're clear about who we are. So.
I thought they got married, right? Didn't they get married?
I thought so.
Or were they just messing with each other? Anyway, whatever. It's all. Anyway,
potatoes, man.
Speaking of wild celebrity drama or whatever, we got this story that the Prince estate has forbidden Morris Day and the Time from using name, according to Morris Day, who has fronted the Prince-formed group since 1981, says he has been refused permission to perform under that name.
Wow.
Morris Day, frontman of Prince-formed group The Time since 1981, has alleged the late musician's estate has forbidden him from performing under the name Morris Day and the Time. That's wild. Why would they do that?
I mean, but see, that's the thing, and it's I'm glad you're pointing this out, because we look at these artists, and if you want to talk about being a slave, you can't even own your own name. I know MC Light just got the rights to her name, I believe a few months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she now has those rights, and I believe that there was a similar issue with amongst the members of Houdini. You know, shout out to my man Jalil, but I know there was some discrepancies before my man died. My brain is kind of numb this morning, but yeah. So the whole thing about you not even being able to own your name, it's like, and we're expecting these artists, they could say something, they could do something. Man, you don't even own your own name. You know what I mean? And that's some wild shit. So I don't know what's up with the Prince estate, because of course a lot of stuff went bananas after Prince died. But you know,
I haven't had a chance to get too much into the article, but it apparently it goes over the history that the Time apparently had an acrimonious relationship and on and off. You know, they had a lot of issues with Prince over the years, and I'm honestly not even sure who's in control of the estate. But to your point, I don't know. I don't understand why they would do that, but I guess, you know, the beef must be that serious, because now you're not only, I mean, that's cutting off Morris and his whole crew from, I'm sure needed revenue, but yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's just,
I guess
I think your point is the best point. Like, there's just a lack of ownership or control. That's you know.
I'm such a rebel. I couldn't imagine no one telling me I couldn't use a name. I'm going to use it anyway. Go take it up with the state, and I'm
but that would be what they would do, and then you would go and perform, and your checks would get snatched, or whatever, they would garnish the revenue, or if I mean, that's sort of the problem with these things.
That's why you need a collection agency that that will retrieve any stolen goods. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that there's a system and there's a system. There's always a system. There's always a system. You know, where there's a will, there's a way. And I just call my man Will, and he'll make a way. But anyway, what else we got going on?
Well, I was going to say, call my man Will make a way. I heard that.
I tell
you. Unfortunately, there are some, apparently, according to this story, who are buying guns and then using them on themselves. So I don't know. Again, I don't know enough of the details here, but apparently there's an uptick in gun purchasing within the Black community. And I don't know if it's a 1-to-1 correlation. I guess it does make sense that it would be, but the question is it driving Black suicide rates? Now, obviously, I don't want to sound like Mr. NRA here, but I do agree to a certain extent that the issue with the gun is not the gun itself per se, but the person wielding it and what their education and mental state may be, political education particularly. So I wouldn't want to say that just because more Black people are buying guns is driving up suicide rates. But then again, at the same time, it may in the moment ease the decision and make the decision quick and of course permanent, as opposed to if you didn't have a gun and wanted to harm yourself. But anyway, it's just,
you know,
anyway,
this is I think that, you know, and we got to look deeper into it, right? I'm really, you know, in my mind, and it is tough because of the fact that you always have folks ready to jump on and say, blah blah blah, you're insensitive. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I'm looking at this as high tech propaganda, and I'm saying that because of the fact that right now everything is, black. Blacks are doing more drugs. Blacks are, shooting themselves. There, I think it's a way to push folks who are on the line and are thinking about purchasing weapons. I think it's a way for them to say, look, don't get a gun because, black folks are killing themselves with guns. Now, I know different people who have committed suicide in my lifetime. And honestly, out of maybe 8 people that I knew, 1 used a gun. Now, that's not saying that this report is not true. And that's not making light of the situation. That's not it at all. But I'm just saying that I'm leery of what it is that the state is providing us as far as propaganda. You mean to tell me that white folks that have been purchasing guns all this time, what do? Just kill everyone else with them? I mean, I might believe that.
No, I mean, I tend to think that I mean, obviously, I think, well, not obviously, but I tend to think that with all of these issues, the driving force is sociological more than anything else, or so to speak. So, like, if I mean, I have heard from my counseling psychologist friend in particular that black youth suicide rates are going through the roof, and I don't think that has anything to do with gun purchases as much as it does with depression, poverty, oppression, colonialism, right, etc. But right. So I think this sounds too easy, and the fact that, and I have to say, the fact that it's an NPR story makes me think more, that right, like, of course they would want to push the gun thing. But
listen, I was on NPR one time, man, and after they remixed what I said, I'm sitting there listening to it. I had to really look and see, was that me talking? Because some of the stuff I don't even remember saying. You know what I'm saying? It's like they total remix, but that's propaganda. Yes,
it's funny you mentioned that because my bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, it's good.
Just last year or 2, I can't remember. After the Buying Power book came out, I got invited to NPR. To a long form interview with a brother who does the hit the podcast, was it Code Switch or something like that? And then he said excerpts might end up on the morning thing. So we did this long conversation, and then that disappeared, and only a 3-minute excerpt popped up on the morning thing. And it was almost kind of to your point, like,
oh yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so I have a very interesting relationship with NPR, and look, the brother don't even for whatever reason, his issues, I think, entirely let me not say it that way. Shout out to Dr. Chris Tinson, who gave me the idea years ago, that I credit him with when I wrote about it, that NPR is the equivalent of what Fanon said about Radio Algiers. Right. In rest of the earth, that it is the national colonial voice, colonizing voice, and meant to validate and support white settler colonialism. So
I mean, you got to think about it. You got to, I mean, see, this is how deep capitalism, colonialism, and imperialism is. Folks don't even understand the depths of what they will go to. In order for you to win you over, they have to make you feel like, oh no, we are the voice of the people. So they'll sprinkle in a little bit of this, 50% truth. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me rewind. 25% truth, 75% fluff. You know what I'm saying? It's like a bag of chips. You go get a bag of potato chips and whatnot. You're like, oh man, go get me the big bag. You got about a quarter worth of chips in there, and everything else is air. That's how NPR is. It sounds good because it's an alternative, quote unquote, news source. But the reality is, nothing that is being allowed through state airwaves can you trust. Not if it's sponsored by corporations and all of that type of stuff. So it sounds good in theory, but it is the best way to trickery. You talk about a Trojan horse. NPR is definitely a Trojan horse station.
Shout out to Todd. I think his name was Todd Christensen, who did a lecture years ago called The Political Economy of Doritos. It's still one of my favorite lectures. I'm going to go back and check it out. I think I have it saved somewhere. To your point about the packaging and the way that capitalism perfectly constructs the Dorito to attack all of our senses. and insinuate itself. I mean, I thought it was a really brilliant lecture on using the production of Doritos to explain capitalism.
It's important because you get some people that be like, well, why would you be on certain stations? I had some folks ask like, why were you in Selma with those people? What do you mean those people? Those people are our people. You know what I mean? As an organizer, you have to be able to utilize tools. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to utilize, wise man utilizes all tools. Now, if a certain tool that you can't utilize, like a Fox News or something like that, then you leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? But if you're able to stick to the script and able to maneuver, even when they chop you up, when they chop and screw, you still going to be able to get your point across. You know what I mean? So, we have to be where the people are. I think that sometimes we get caught up in, I'm just going to stay in this little box over here. And whoever's not down with this box, they're not down. You know what I mean? You got to be able to win people over to points of unity and figure out what it is that you can do to advance. So even with NPR, we have to figure out, okay, boom, if we are going to engage these folks or even entertain that platform, it's like, to what advantage? What can you utilize? How can you push it?
I will share a little inside, what some would say baseball, called inside pettiness. To Jay Bryson's point, the NPR does target white liberals for sure, affluent white liberals in particular, but they also draw a good segment or a good amount of the black bourgeoisie into their audience too. So sometimes, to Kalanji's point, some of us might feel it necessary to accept those invitations from time to time because that's the only way we know that some of our bosses and administrators at our universities will be aware of our work as they try to suppress it in real time.
Right. But not
so
only
it's
that,
just a little like,
yeah. but not only that, and you're right. But not only that, and yes, Tiny Desk is probably the best thing they have going. But
no doubt, and Mumu Fresh killed hers for sure. Yeah,
no doubt. And shout out to my man Rodney Carmichael, who's working over there on the music side of things or whatever.
All right, okay.
Who gave us the strong lookout when he was here at Creative Loafing. But hit us with the front page joint. But what I wanted to say too is, like in certain arenas and certain spots like Atlanta, for instance, you have NPR stations. So if you're listening to the radio and you're in the car and this is all you have to listen to, you have a choice. You can listen to one of these other Negro stations or whatever, or you can listen to NPR and they might hit you with some international news. You know what I mean? So, folks, you might not be, on that particular side of the fence, but you might say, look, well, at least they're talking about what's going on in Somalia or the Ukraine or whatever, so on and so forth. And then you're going to have to dig through it and figure things out. But at least you'll know that there's something going on. Whereas a lot of these other stations, they're not going to, you don't even know anything's happening outside the city of Atlanta. So.
Facts.
Anyway.
Well, speaking of NPR, we might as well just stay with them because they've also reported recently that Black Americans are now dying from drug overdoses at a higher rate than whites.
That is, I mean,
woo!
Really?
When
so gun violence and drugs
rates have been growing fastest among Black communities. Well, I mean, for the first time, we've seen them overtaking the overdose rate among white individuals.
That's amazing that's even been stated right there, saying for the first time, because it was up until recently when they were talking about the opioid crisis. Black folks were the only people on drugs, according to them.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, it's like for the first time since you came up with the last propaganda. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, preliminary data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention suggests the situation has grown even worse over the past year as fatal overdoses topped 100,000 for the first time in 2021. The biggest factor apparently is a more toxic illicit drug supply to fentanyl, That's because of fentanyl, the potent synthetic opioid, which Mexican drug cartels now mix it in. So, so wait a minute. I love how that's. Look, I admit I haven't read this closely. I'm just looking at this, and big shout out to Erica, who behind the scenes put these stories up for us. But so I don't know exactly, the entirety of the framing here, but it just does. So it just what is drawing my eye in this story is, to your point, Kalanji. It feels like a lot of, Black people are dying more, and it's the Mexicans' fault. And oh, by the way, white people did use drugs.
Right. By the way, yeah, they might have sniffed something. They might have had some oxycodone. But
I don't know. Anyway,
you know what this is though, and it's dawning on me, like, why are you talking about this? Okay, so you got the suicide by gun, and now you got the drug overdose. Both of these by Black folks, right? But you also just had this State of the Union address from Biden a few days ago. So now he's going to save the day with his healthcare act and whatnot. So I mean, this is like, and then you're going to need more police because of the fact that the drugs are coming through and the guns, so on and so forth. So it heightens the police state and all that. Like all of this.
That's good, because he also increased the funding for them as well. So
yeah,
he's coming with some foresight there.
The propaganda game is incredible, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. But yeah.
All right, so we got one more. Let's go ahead and get to one more story before the break. And and we got here, let's see. This one is from even better than NPR. We have Disney's ESPN telling us that WNBA star commenting on WNBA star Brittany Griner, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says U.S. ready to give every possible assistance to detained citizens. So I actually don't know the context here. Reacting to WNBA star Brittany Griner being detained in Russia, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said Sunday the United States will provide every possible assistance to citizens being held by foreign countries. So I didn't know she was stuck there. Why? What's going on?
Yeah. So she was arrested. She's been locked up for about 3 weeks or something. She was detained at the airport because she had some cannabis cartridges and some other I guess paraphernalia or whatever. So she's been trapped during this particular thing. Now the wild thing, and of course you feel sorry for for folks, but it's like, look, man, you can't go to these different countries with any types of drugs. You got to be clear, especially during wartime. I mean, because the fact that
oil in her luggage.
Yeah, I mean, she's a hostage right now. You know what I'm saying? She's a tool. You're a WNBA star. So now it's this conflict over there, and you're looking kind of things are kind of rough.
Damn. 10 years in prison, a maximum of 10 years in prison for vape cartridges?
Hey man.
Yo.
Russia, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like what was that y'all was talking about? Ukraine, what? Okay, we got this. So
yo. So she's being detained in Russia,
right?
Not you. Okay, where did I read Ukraine then? Anyway, my bad.
Yeah, it's definitely Russia.
Yeah.
So Russia got the juice right now. That's a card, a political card.
Well, I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm more mad. This is trifling. This is a terrible, but I'm more mad at their drug policy than their policy with Ukraine. Like, what's up? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you are right, man. People, you gotta be careful, man. I
know too many people that tried it, man. It's like, it's not the move, especially when you're dealing with a country that's not friendly with the country that you're quote unquote coming from.
I had a comrade bring something from London into Zimbabwe and got away with it. And I was like, And then we were leaving Amsterdam, and my man from Dilated Peoples was just about to get on our plane and realized that he was about to bring something with him from Amsterdam that not everybody would appreciate, and caught himself just as he was getting ready to get on the plane. But that's as close as I've ever come, at least as I'm aware of. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, man.
Anyway, that's terrible though.
Some folks like what you're doing over there, all that. I don't know about all that stuff. But what I do know is that, because folks, they carry the vape joints, all over, especially in the States. But when you crossing those lines, you got to go through customs and all that, man. That's a different piece.
That's terrible though. I don't think anybody should be, especially for personal use stuff. Nobody should be getting that kind of. It shouldn't be that deep.
Oh yeah,
Russia
but I mean, I agree with you. But the thing is, it's like, again, look at the climate right now.
No, I hear you. No, now this is terrible. And at any point where you got to hope that Anthony Blinken is going to help you.
Man, you're in a bad state of mind. Plus, they already don't respect women basketball players. You know what I'm saying? They don't respect women athletes at all. So of course, and like it's been pointed out, WNBA pay scale wise is trash compared to the NBA, which the NBA's pay scale is trash because of the fact that I don't believe that any individual should get that kind of money for for playing a sport. You know what I mean? Especially when you have folks who are who educators and things of that nature who get paid crumbs, and you guys are getting millions of dollars. So I don't feel sorry for that money tip, because I do hear people saying, well, they don't make that much money. I mean, they only make 200-something thousand a year, only 200,000 something a year. Oh, okay, that's cool. Hey, live within your means, man.
One other point I would just add to that: the WNBA is subsidized by the NBA, so we clearly don't have problems in certain settings of redistributing wealth to help other areas of the economy that need it.
Absolutely.
Just want to put that out there. Anyway, all right. So let's go back and we take another quick break here at the Remix Morning Show. Let everybody, do what they got to go do. Come right back, and we got much more we can get to here this morning. So don't go anywhere, all you good remixers out there. We'll be back shortly.
Okay, hold on, brother. How'd you say shortly? Do I have to have that same voice?
You gotta have that. You gotta have that shortly.
I might have to go get me a lemon button down.
That's what I was gonna say. It's my salmon shirt transition.
Violating.
Shortly.
In other words, in the hood vernacular, we be back.
Sia concra comora, ana manetanala, tanala, namshanje ipatia, sizo babona saseka, namshanje ipatia, sizo ngami chomiza, she know me 100,000. Panonga, sia concra comora, wana manetanala, namshanje ipatia, sizo babona saseka, namshanje ipatia, sizo ngami chomiza, she know me 100,000.
We back here at the Remix Morning Show, Black Power Media, Jared Ball, Kalanji, Jamachanga in the building, Sister May in the background, Sister Erica in the background. Appreciate everybody, all the remixers. Definitely hit that like, share, subscribe, tweet out, Facebook out, IG out, whatever out. Let people know to jump on in and join you, share some of this boom bap breakfast. Stop being stingy. Anyway, what's going on? You muted, my man. Yeah.
I know. I was talking a whole bunch of nothing at the same time. You know what I mean? I was like, I hear me, so it's okay.
Right.
Shout out to all our viewers, man. We appreciate you all checking in.
Yeah,
You know,
no doubt.
you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here rocking with us. You know what I'm saying? I had to loosen my locks, man. It was like, man, I was tucked in and whatnot. Y'all ain't tell me, you know what I'm saying? But I'm good now, though. But anyway,
All right.
what's it's funny because of the fact I was thinking about, I was hearing black folks talk about still talking that jazz about the whole Russia Ukraine piece, and we ain't got nothing to do with them white folks, so on and so forth. Then them gas prices start going up. Now I'm hearing folks like, I wish they stopped fighting. Can't we all just get along?
Can't we all just get along? Well, again, I mean, they're messing with me because I'm trying to sell out on this 4% cola. But again, as George Jackson reminded us 50 years ago, they balance out any pay raise with inflation, making your buying power useless, but so-called. So yeah. Look, I remember when I was delivering pizzas in the early 1990s, and I could fill up my little Toyota Tercel literally with $10 whole. And for a week. No, probably not a week. At least, at least a full shift and get through the shift. Now, if I want to fill up the car, we're talking probably close to $100 at this point.
Yo, listen, man.
So
I remember gas went up to $1.25, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. I was like, yo, they want $1.25 for gas. I'm like, are you kidding me? $1.25 a gallon. Now, if it was $1.25, man, I might fill somebody else's car up. Like, come here, man, let me take care of you. You know what I'm saying?
well,
It's bananas.
the other part of that story that I forgot to finish was that I remember a story on the radio at the time, and again in the early 90s, and the discussion among the punditry was that the United States was desiring to get Americans to be willing to pay more than $2 a gallon, as was the case at that point in Europe. But Americans hadn't been sort of prepared for that, psychologically. So here we are, and paying much more. And to your point, the most fuss is being raised so far is, can we all just get along?
Yeah. They concerned now because they're forgetting, even though, they claim that they don't get gas from Russia, we know that, they're one of the largest producers of crude oil out there. So, it's going to be problems. It's going to be more difficult. But anyway, they don't care. I mean, they're spending our money, so
That's
it moves. It works for them, but, it's a hazard that comes with being here in America. Yeah, I remember that whole 50-cent gas. I remember you fill it up and it was all good.
Nah, they don't even make the Tercel anymore. They don't even
that went out with the Datsun. Remember the Datsun?
But that's what I was rocking that joint. I remember the Datsun. I had but I was pushing that Tercel, delivering my pizzas in these tree-lined streets.
Sure, the pizza man. You like a pizza man?
I was, man.
We used to deliver pizza at Jared.
For one of these superstore chains.
I said where? You was in
out here in Columbia, Maryland, out in these tree-lined streets, and it was always funny because again, relative to the situation, the two neighborhoods in which I grew up were slated as the two of the three scariest neighborhoods where drivers were not encouraged to go, or we were not encouraged to take orders from after a certain hour. And that was one of my first introductions to how people viewed, from the outside, the neighborhood I grew up in, again, in a microcosm. Yeah. But they were like, oh, that's the bad neighborhood. And I was like, word?
Yeah, we weren't getting no food deliveries around our hood, brother. It was they already knew it was gonna be an automatic shakedown. In fact, cats from the projects would order stuff to other houses like a couple blocks down. And and the poor delivery people, man, they like, look,
we had a couple incidents. We had a couple incidents like that, but fortunately, I was able to avoid it. I never had any, never had any problems. But I mean, yeah. Anyway,
yeah, no problems. I'm using the tree.
I didn't,
man. It was gangster like that out there.
No, I would say we had I think, like everywhere, there's people who are inspired to certain activity that they hear about or see elsewhere. And then again, relative to the situation, relative to Columbia, Maryland, these were the quote unquote projects. So it's again, it's all relative, but but we did have a couple.
Your projects was like townhomes where I was from, huh?
Well, they were apartment buildings, but again, so I'm gonna show it again because I actually did I did a little video where I went back to the neighborhood. So it was 3-story apartment buildings that were with central air conditioning and a balcony that was subsidized housing. So we were paying when we were encouraged out of DC, and everybody there was either from DC or Baltimore, and we were subsidized and paid. And I remember we paid $14 a month, and got central air, 2-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. So again, it's here in Columbia. It's all relative. But that was considered the bad neighborhood. And in fact, my street was called Airy Brink Lane, and people used to jokingly say like Airy Bronx or Airy Brooklyn, try to and again, it wasn't nothing like that, but it was just relative to the situation. So,
doubt,
we did, some of us fashioned ourselves as petty criminals here and there and tried our hand, and then every once in a while somebody tried to step up and to be a real thug, and that's what happens. What happens happens.
You all was influenced and encouraged by U.S. politics, huh? To be thugs, huh?
I mean, again, look. So some of it was, part of it was you had people being newly gentrified out of these Baltimore and DC. So like some of the kids I played with, their parents were from the hoods in Baltimore and DC. So whatever transfer occurred there, certainly I can't speak for anybody else, but it's particularly as I started getting a little older and realizing what others were feeling, I certainly felt like, oh, you all see me as the hood dude. Like when I remember, like a kid on my soccer team told me, I'm not allowed to go to your house because your neighborhood is off limits. And I was like, word? It's like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
You know, the wild thing about what you're saying is, I remember, I was always funny in school. I was always like top 2 on the jokes. You know what I mean? I was a short kid, but I had jokes. So I remember one time I was on the bus, and growing up in the projects, it was a neighborhood. We didn't think of it as anything bad because we was just, we was around our people. So everything we needed was there. So I remember one time I was we call it hanging. I was hanging these cats, and this girl was like, that's why you live in the projects. And everybody's like, ooh. Even the cats that lived in the projects, because we went to a magnet high school. I mean, a magnet school. So even the kids that went to the projects, he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, you live in the projects with us. But I never knew that it was frowned upon or looked down upon. And I must have been in like 6th, 7th grade when she said that. And it was just like, that was the moment that I realized, like, oh, we're looked at as less than. But we didn't care, because to this day, I have to say, and shout out to Quantic Apartments, where I'm from, Bridgeport, Connecticut. To this day, I still say that the closest community experience I had, even though I've been in the quote unquote movement, in the quote unquote conscious community, the most community I've experienced was living in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Because we actually looked out for each other on the real, so shout out to all my brothers, sisters, comrades, and folks out there that think that you might have it bad. Trust me, it gets worse. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes what's considered the bottom is better than what's at the top.
I do remember, I see Ricky Ryan pointing out some like people in Howard County. Like, so the other thing would be that people, set up shop out here too a little bit. So, I mean, I do remember, over the years, there's been a number of major drug busts out here. At one point, I remember, I want to say like 20 years ago, there was a major marijuana bust. And they said it was like the biggest weed ring in the state or something like that, and it was run out of a townhouse not far from where I grew up. And I was like, so I mean, there are people that look,
we was tripping.
It's rough out here, so people are trying to get over everywhere we find ourselves. So anyway, go ahead.
When we first saw the movie Colors, because for folks that are too young to know, when you talk about gang culture and all of that, for many of us on the East Coast, our introduction to that was the movie Colors. That was before NWA. In fact, that's what helped us to accept NWA, Eazy-E, and folks like that. But we were confused because of the fact that we was looking at like, wait, these dudes live in houses and they got
right. I thought the same thing.
What the fuck are y'all mad about?
The front yard. Yeah. I was like, you got a lawn?
Like, what you mean? Y'all got grass and y'all mad? We gotta go to the park for grass. It's like, like where I grew up, everything was concrete for real. The only thing that wasn't concrete was a seesaw, and that was like some old ass wood, but it was on concrete. The sprinklers was concrete. The whole fucking playground was concrete. And I'm like, I mean, what y'all mad about? I mean, I'm like, You know, so I didn't understand.
That's how I felt when I met a lot of kids from PG County out here. I was like, you all are acted like super thugs and you got actual houses. I was like, how in the hell?
Yeah, listen,
I'm supposed to be the soft one from the suburbs. You got a house. How the hell?
I was
Anyway,
totally confused, man. I'm like, yo, like, I was confused because I'm like, y'all beefing over colors and y'all live in a house. I mean, this shit is crazy. You
and by the way, I just watched the at least most of the game in his Drink Champs interview recently, and I didn't realize that. Honestly, I don't pay attention enough, but I didn't realize the extent to which all of this is still going on. And then he was even asked about how, as a Blood, does he feel seeing the Crips and Bloods expand to New York. And does he take them seriously? And apparently he and his crew do. And he's expressed almost a pride in the expansion of the culture. And I have to say, in what I thought was an otherwise fascinating interview, I've never really paid attention to the game that much either. But I found him actually likable. I enjoyed him, but even though I can't say I can relate to or agree with promoting expansion of the gang culture that way, at least as it's projected in that way. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I honestly was not aware to the extent that it is still a major force in California and beyond. So in LA and beyond. So
yeah, I mean, and it's like I never disrespected anything because we us wherever we at. Don't get it twisted. And and I know different all on the East Coast folks from different organizations and street tribes and all that. So I'm not making light of it because I my people's my people. But I'm just saying, like, when we're first hearing about it late mid 80s, with like colors and all that, it was like it was a whole nother program. And yeah, definitely shout out to Cabrini Green. We know about Cabrini Green. And Manny, now I got family over in Canarsie. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my West Indian massive out there.
And shout out to the Steppin' Razor as a name, and Peter Tosh, of course. That's fantastic. Yeah, I love seeing that. Yeah,
that's my code name right there. You know what I'm saying? Steppin' Razor. Yes.
Better watch my sides. I'm dangerous. So don't let the salmon shirt fool you. It's like, I'm just playing.
Now you're taking it too far.
No, I know, right? Because all I kept thinking, even as I was putting it on, honestly, all I kept thinking was the Nas line, or was it Jay-Z talking to Nas? Niggas in pink suits trying to act cute. I was like,
yo, listen, I was here in Atlanta one time, man. Big Cat walk up on me talking crazy with a pink shirt. I said, my man, with all due respect, on any other day, you might can deal with me. But I said, I'm not letting the dude with a pink shirt fuck with me. I'm telling you that right now. It's not about to go down like that. I'm going to do everything in my power. You know what I mean? But shout out to all the pink shirt cats out there.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
When you good with yourself, I put on whatever. You know what I'm saying? I rock.
Yours is salmon though, man. Yours is salmon. So.
Oh, well, all right. And honestly, my wife had to tell me that when I said, you bought me a pink shirt. She said, it's salmon. I said, all right. Well, I said, that's what they just say to make people feel better about putting it on. That's what I was like. Anyway, whatever.
She's like, you put that damn shirt on and shut your damn mouth and hop on that show. And lo and behold, here you come, looking like the early morning Easter egg. My man. Shout out to Jared Ball.
Happy wife, happy life.
Hey, so, I heard that.
So I saw this story a couple of days ago. That The Hill, which I don't watch anymore, but I thought it was interesting more if for no other reason, really for our purposes, that if even major well-funded establishment white channels like The Hill can get in trouble and get their account suspended for 10 days on YouTube for apparently promoting a Trump speech, which was, I don't know what claims exactly were being made, but I just thought it was, something that we should take note of here, because, and why we need people to support in any number of ways that you can, because I'm always feeling like, we're we're one show away, you know what I mean? From
only one. There's a couple of shows I know for sure. I was like, okay, you might as well go all the way out, G, because it's about to be over. And then the next
I
day
mean-
we get along, like, oh shit. Or like they watching us hard. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know, so and again, I was trying to look real quick. What? Trump was claiming that the election had been rigged. Okay, so that's what it was.
So the
but I
video
mean,
from him?
Yeah, but I mean, again, I don't want to be. Look, I'm not a fan per se or a viewer of The Hill, so I don't, you know, or whatever. But I'm just generally opposed to censorship of any kind. So I don't. I don't understand how a news organization in particular can get in trouble for reporting what a news figure says. I mean, whatever we think of Trump, he was the former president. He is a celebrity. And when he says things, is news. And if he's going to say something like the election was rigged, why would that be, you know, all good? Thank you, Lisa.
Lisa's
Thank
bugging. Anyway,
so I mean, but I'm saying, like, how you know, what are you supposed to do then? So the dude gets out there. So if he gets out there, you're supposed to say, well, Trump said something wild, but if you want to know what he actually said, you got to go elsewhere to find out. Like that does that. I don't. So, but the bigger thing is, I don't like that a private company, without any, and we've even seen this on the behind the scenes. They're not clear with what the issue is. They're not communicative. They're not quick with an explanation necessarily if you have a question about how they're treating your channel, or they're not forthcoming if you know. So
yeah, I mean, and that's a hazard of, you know, when especially when you're doing the work that we're doing, right? I mean, we come hard with our guests. We're hitting different angles, you know, different types of individuals from all over the planet, literally, you know, different topics dealing with imperialism and colonialism, so on and so forth. So, you know, we expect a certain amount of pushback or whatever, right? But, you know, again, when you hear us talk about, you know, we need your support, because we know we have a lot of supporters and we're grateful for you. But if you want to continue to see this type of content, you know, we need assistance in getting servers and things that we can have independently, so we won't have to deal with, you know, with the nonsense. So you know, definitely, you know, however you all can you know, support our efforts. We have our Patreon. You go to blackpowermedia.org and hit the donate button. And we're working on a couple other different means and ways and whatnot. But, you know, we're grateful. We don't want to sound like we begging, but
not at all.
We want to make
no,
sure
I mean,
that, you know,
yeah,
if you like it,
incredibly grateful, but I think we just have to be mindful of what the environment is. And they're quick. Apparently, they're quick with some of these triggers for cancellation or whatever goes on in these YouTube streets. It gets rough out here. But speaking of where it really is rough, this story just seems, on the one hand, predictable, but just at the other, you know, shameful all the way around. Corporations turned prison tablets into a predatory scheme. Prison iPads became a lifeline during the pandemic. They also became a new way to squeeze money out of the incarcerated and their families. So this to me just reads like every approach that I have to quote unquote new technology. But just quickly here, in early March 2020, as COVID-19 infections started to spread in U.S. jails and prisons, Roger was serving out the final months of a 15-year sentence in Eastern Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison in Ulster County, about 100 miles north of New York City. By April 1st, movement in the facility was restricted, recreation areas were closed, and visitations and educational programs were suspended. For several months, Roger recounted, we were literally locked in our cells as if we were in solitary confinement. Wow. So let's see. JPay calculated that the profits from associated fees would outweigh the cost of providing tablets without charge. In fact, with roughly 50,000 incarcerated people slated to receive tablets in prisons throughout New York, JPay projected a net profit of about $8.8 million by August 2022. I'm sorry, JPay, a subsidiary prison telecommunications giant of Securus Technologies, was set to distribute mini tablets to the prison population, or they did distribute in October 2019 at no upfront cost. But there was a predictable caveat. While the tablets gave incarcerated individuals access to email, music, ebooks, and even games, all of those services came with hefty price tags. So that's where the $8.8 million profit was seen to be projected. So it looks like they were, so folks were just, this was just like the scheme. We're going to give you a free device, and then we're just going to, and I forgot the language that is used for this, but just through escalating cost, offer you access to more and more of what the technology promises. Right. So, and of course, it's known, it's well understood that if you're sitting there with a device, and if you're incarcerated and desperate on top of it, if you're going to be charged, probably, I don't know, whatever they're charging for access to email or a game, you're likely going to be willing to pay for it. Right. So,
yeah, I mean,
anyway,
these cats are ruthless, man. It's just their madness never cease. It's just, on and on and on and on. I think the main thing is they want to definitely cut off communication with outside, with families and comrades, so on and so forth, because that's the umbilical cord, that's the lifeline. One of the things that we encourage folks about when we talked about letter writing campaigns is that, they have to know that that there are folks checking on particularly our political prisoners and family members.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we talk about free them all, but how many of us are taking the time to, write a letter, to reach out? And it's important because a lot of our comrades and family members get lost in the system. And many folks are buried, I mean, literally lost, because they have no outside contact. There's no one checking for them. So, oftentimes we remember, oh yeah, my man such and such got locked up in 88. When the last time you reach out to him? You don't even know if he's breathing or dead.
It's interesting that you say that, because in that event that Jared Ware and Brooke, I keep wanting to say Teo Brooke, but I'm not always sure if that's the exact pronunciation. But anyway, the Journalism for Combat and Liberation conference that they started, which is going on this next weekend as well. One of the points that Brooke made, I thought was very interesting, and I really, honestly, I hadn't thought of it in quite this way, because he said that something like, in terms of journalist coverage of incarceration, his point was that we are actually more likely to hear, as rare as it is, about an individual political prisoner than we are to hear about prisoners in general. Which I thought was initially, I thought I would want to, I thought that can't be right, but I it probably is. I hadn't really heard it put that way or thought of it that way. But even as this article is saying here, I'm just looking a little more into it. It's saying that over the years, prisons have increasingly outsourced to private companies all that they're supposed to provide in terms of essential goods, programs, services, food, etc. And prisoners who are making on an average less than 40 cents an hour for wages are forced to spend exorbitant amounts of money to buy their basics, even including food, from outsourced private entities that the prisons are working with. But of course, you could get away with all of this kind of exaggerated or exponential abuse if nobody is paying any attention at all. Right. To prisoners, and even and at best every once in a while, at least in certain segments of our communities, something about a political prisoner. But yeah, anyway, I mean,
it's but we have to have. I mean, and there, shout out to all of the organizations out there who are doing prison work, because there are folks who are doing prison work that may not be working on behalf of political prisoners, but they're working to shut down the prison industrial complex as a whole. So that's always a plus, because there's so many different fights. And the thing is, if you're not actively engaged in our people's liberation movement, then you will be confused into believing that no one's doing anything, because that's the go-to, because you don't know jack shit about it. So you think that no one else cares or no one else is doing anything, when in fact, when you talk about organizing, there's organizing on all types of levels. And I'm saying this, you know, to some it might be like, well, that's a foregone conclusion, but to some there are folks who are listening that may not have any. This might be the most revolutionary station or convos that they've ran across. And I know that to be true because I've ran into a number of different folks who have said, look, man, you all are coming with some things that are making me think, yeah, I was going to do this. Or I was all about the Democratic Party or whatever the case is. So, you know, we're grateful, and we have to remind ourselves because we have to have comrades on all fronts. The animal rights activist has to support the political prisoner. The folks who are fighting for, like I said, animal rights have to support the death row inmates because we're talking about life. We're talking about the environment, environmentally, so on and so forth. But we have to make sure that we are bringing together a coalition of folks who are against fascism and against imperialism as a whole. But we get so twisted and we pick and choose our fights, and we don't support anything outside of what we are focused on, you know. And as I tell folks all the time, I had a cat asking me, I said I was an environmentalist, and he's like, oh, environmentalist, what about such and such? Like, look, motherfucker, if we can't breathe, you don't have to worry about nothing else. You know what I mean? So we got to fight on all fronts. That's just the reality of things.
Right on. All right, everybody, stick around. We'll be right back. Much more coming up here on the Remix Morning Show. Black Power Media, back in just a second. Peace.
Let's go.
Marshall! It's Marshall!
In fact,
Step in.
Can I say this real quick?
And I got flipped on at least. Like it's like that.
You are black before you a Democrat.
And I do. Yeah, right?
The ear doctor.
If we can be as free, as truth-telling, as for real.
How can I be an activist today? In my blood.
I mean,
803.
I don't know, Elder. I don't know what's the most respectful.
Yes, indeed. Back again. Remix Morning Show.
What up?
Jared Ball, Kalanji Changa, Black Power Media was good.
Yo, man.
Sister May, Erica. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
What's
we had to give it to them because I think they think that we can't do it without nobody else, man. They think that I know some folks hopped on the daytime. It's just Kalanji and Jared. What they gonna talk about? You know what I'm saying?
right.
You know, crazy bald head and crazy dread head. But
so, hey, real quick, because I know somebody brought this up in the chat. I did see that. So Biden is set to sign a crypto executive order this week as industry faces sanctions pressure. President Joe Biden is set to sign an executive order this week that will outline the U.S. government's strategy for cryptocurrencies as the industry faces sanctions pressure, sources say. So, well, we've already actually talked about that this was coming. By the way, I was even among those who were predicting that something like this was, of course, going to happen. They're not going to leave this unregulated. And as we've seen, it's also been reported that Coinbase, one of the largest crypto exchanges, shut down Russia's cryptocurrency. Or shut down the ability for Russians to engage in crypto exchange. So we're already seeing the political world, those with actual political power, starting to address themselves to the specifics of this little game people have been playing with, and some making a few dollars off of. And now, we're going to see what's what, and why I keep arguing we need political power and not another new currency. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a scramble at this point. I think that we're going to get to I think it's the inevitable. I think that, it's like the water in the drain. Eventually it's going to run out, and eventually none of it's going to matter, because they're going to hit this this particular moment in time where the people are going to decide that they want to eat. The people are going to decide that this imbalance is not gonna cut it any longer. And I think we're moving closer to that point. And I think that it's just like the hole in the ozone. Certain things are inevitable. It can only go so far. So I don't know, man. I'm not. Yeah.
And to KCOG, no, there's no ear doctor this morning. We kicked him out and sent him up to Jersey.
That's right. Going up there. You know what I'm saying? Go check the weather up in Jersey. How you like that? Man, who are the DJs, man? Who are the DJs you've been spinning during the break?
Oh, you know what? That's a really good question. And let me pull that
we
back
hired
up.
them without even hiring them. So,
we hired them without even hiring them.
Shout out to them.
I did have, shout out to them. I'll have that in a second. Give me a second, and I'll get that detail there. I'm a Piano London, and I don't know if that's the place or what they go by as a name. It was from TXC Boiler Room System. And Boiler Room is the YouTube channel. But I don't see, let's see. Why don't they got the song lists on there, but I don't see the names of the DJs.
Coco said they've been waiting for the whole show for that info. Don't worry.
We'll keep waiting. Hold on. And then stick around. We're going to tease that out to the very end of the show.
No doubt. So Leah Bog said, Amapiano, that's her name. That's their name, Amapiano.
Amapiano. AMA. That's it.
I want to put on my ear doctor pronunciation and mispronounced pronunciation.
Well, it says TXC, capital T lowercase x capital C, live from our Amapiano showcase in London. So I don't think that's the group's name.
Okay.
It's the channel seems to be getting more.
Well, folks are saying that TXC is the name of the group. So, or T times C, whatever the case.
Or T times C. Okay, there you go. That makes sense.
Salute to them, and hopefully we'll get them on the show one of these days, since we're playing their stuff. And if you all have contact with them, let them know that the Remix Morning Show and Black Power Media digs their work, and please contact us, because we'll love to have them come on as special guests.
And Reef I know we just going to continue to disagree. I would encourage you to read my work. The book is still free, and to share your detailed response and analysis.
I mean,
let's move.
I hear folks talking about, money is power. Money is not power. Self-determination is power. Money is man-made. Money is part of the issue that we have here. And I'm not on the whole, let's you can't survive off of, because we've survived without money. And when you talk about things like guerrilla warfare, it's not, you don't need a big bank account, when you're talking about being a guerrilla. You have to be out there, and you have to be hungry enough to want to eat. And sometimes you can go out there with tools, without any tools, and leave with truckloads. And that's what a lot of our formations were doing back in the days when they were expropriating and returning some of those stolen resources that were taken and parlayed into this particular empire. So we can't get caught up in the whole myth that if we don't have money, we can't do anything, because we'll never do anything if that's the case. We'll always be.
And I would just like to see the actual argument that people, I just want to see people make the actual argument against that. That's all. Anyway, just real quick, I dropped the link in the chat spaces, so please jump on over there and after we do our thing and enjoy yourselves. So real quick again, what time is your Wesley Muhammad?
Yes, so interview? Tonight, I want to make sure you all tune in 7 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will have Dr. Wesley Muhammad on, representing the Nation of Islam, talking about the assassination of Malcolm, dealing with accusations of not only Baba Zak Kondo, but I think that oftentimes there's questions that the masses have that we talk about, on the side is the whispering, but the questions aren't posed to the folks that we're talking about. And one of the things, and speaking with Dr. Wesley Muhammad a couple of days ago, he said that folks always talk about the nation, but they rarely invite them to have, onto their platforms to speak for themselves. So we're gonna give them the opportunity tonight, and I'm sure that the remixers will be in the chat along with other guests, and I think it's going to be a pretty a strong piece piece dealing with the situation around Malcolm, and folks should note that I'm not here to defend Baba Zak, nor am I here to defend the Nation of Islam. I'm here because I love Malcolm. And so we're going to talk about, as much as we can. And will it be of benefit? I don't know. Stop through and let's see. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm sure the chat.
I just want to refreeze. We this part we agree. So make sure you are a member and contribute through Patreon as much as possible, and prove me wrong. Prove that our black dollar can make our channel as big as anything else. Right. But
and of course, absolutely to survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
know. I mean, it's not. That's not. That's what I'm saying. It's not. That's why I keep
can't
saying,
be. There's no absolutes. You know what I mean?
Saying, but that's why I keep saying, check the argument and then make your own. These comments are not. They're not getting it. So there's a whole argument behind why political power or sovereignty or whatever is the goal. We've laid these arguments out, and I just invite others to respond in kind. One other point to your point about people coming on the platform, I'll speak for myself here because I see this in our YouTube comments somewhat regularly. The issue of you not seeing certain people on this platform is theirs, not ours.
Absolutely.
So, I see this all the time. People say, well, Jared, you said this about so-and-so. Why don't you invite them on? Why don't you debate them? First of all, it's not up to me. I can't just talk to people. I can't just, hey, you over there, come over here. I can't.
It is one person, and I'm not going to say his name.
Yeah, there's
but
only
it's
one.
One person is absolutely banned.
That's right.
From coming
That's
on
right.
to this platform,
That's
and
right.
he's banned from coming on this platform because I will personally say, and this is, I'm sure this is a amongst the owners, we all agree on this, but I will personally say, if this one particular person pops up on any platform on Black Power Media, I'm interrupting it. So I'm just saying that. And no, it's not Umar Johnson or McVest.
No,
so
it's not McVest or
it's
Umar.
principle.
Yeah.
It's very principle. It involves an assault on an elder. So,
and it's not, and that's a good point. It's not about disagreement. We're not saying this person can't come on because we just disagree or we just don't like them. It's because of a very specific incident.
That's right.
That I'll just leave it there. But to the point
we're
is,
not even gonna give them no breathing room. On the platform. But I mentioned it one time. Here's a context clue. I mentioned this person one time on an interview we did with someone that's considered big. So we'll leave it at that. How about that?
I'll leave, if you don't mind, I would give one other little clue, because there is one caveat. This person does, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me just leave it there. Let me leave it alone. But the real point is that again, I'll speak for myself here, but I think this is platform wide. We have been consistent in extending invitations to whoever.
That's right.
And they either they don't want to come here, or they're not able to, or they're not interested, or we're not big enough, or we're not this, or I don't like Jared, or whatever it is. But the goal is to have the conversations and invite it. So that's fun. And I'm still salty. I'm not going to front. I'm a little salty over that one. I'm like, how in the hell? But anyway, but I get it, because
go ahead.
Anyway, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, man, for the record, I think one of the things that's dope about the platform as well is we all don't agree with each other. Don't get it twisted. We'll come on. Don't get it fucked up. You know what I'm saying? We don't. It's plenty of days that we down to the wire and we about to hop on, and we just had a battle royal, and it's like we hopping on like, hey, it's the Remix Morning Show. You know what I'm saying? So,
this is
we
a
don't
good
like
guess,
us,
Leah.
Yeah.
This isn't the person, but so I would say I have never reached out to Skip Gates for an interview, but he is not the person we're talking about.
No.
And if he was really if he wanted to, my first question would be, I would go find that YouTube where him and Peniel Joseph are at Harvard talking about Kwame Ture, and Skip Gates gets so animated and hostile and damn near violent in his discussions of Ture. It's almost kind of out of character for him. And that would be the clip I would play to start the conversation. Because where was all that when the man was actually here?
Yeah, someone already guessed the person in the chat, but we're not even.
For real?
We're not going to confirm.
Not even going to put the name up on the screen.
Nah, not at all. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
He's a sucker, and I said it, so we're not going to go there. So let us move along. In fact.
But what I will say to this, if the issue is an invitation to my particular show, let me just invite with this kind of suggestion or any others, please do send an email with the suggestion to imixwhatilike@gmail.com. Because now that I got a little assistant help, we can I'm happy to do whatever. I'm up for whoever. So
right. I think that also we need you all's assistance as well. Because a lot of these folks, for some reason, it is my belief, and I've been wrong before, but there's a intimidation factor with some individuals because, we challenge people like no other platform. We will challenge you on what it is you're talking about, and oftentimes folks don't want to deal with it. There's been plenty of interviews I've gotten where folks are like, can you send what questions you're going to ask? Yeah, I'll send some questions, but those ain't really the questions I'm going to ask you. I don't even know why you're asking me to send you some questions to see if you want to deal with it. I'm going to ask you what comes to mind. And for the record, I never write questions down. I don't know if that's a flaw. Y'all might not like my style, but I like to kind of vibe and see what folks are talking about and pick up from there. So most of the time, my interviews are like off the top.
And I think it's funny that Leah spelled the name wrong. I'm assuming you did that on purpose. no, he's obviously not the person, but I think I still have the tape somewhere. Years ago, when I was doing my thesis on John Henrik Clarke, I did an interview with Karenga that the pre-agreement was that I wouldn't use or air any of the audio, but that wasn't the point of the recording. It was just for notes. And it was a long discussion, and he had very little good to say about Dr. Clarke. And he was not interested in publicly engaging that as much as he was willing to talk with me, I guess, behind the scenes for the purpose of my thesis, and maybe at the request of Dr. Turner. But anyway, it would be interesting. I have my issues with Karenga, but there's one thing that can't be, I think, that he can't be faked on or shorted for is his contribution to Black studies as a field. And he reads Medu Neter, which I think is profoundly impressive. But I'm not a fan of his demeanor, and I'm not a fan of seeing his wife walk behind him and stuff like that. Like that kind of stuff was like, oh, like that's
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
and it's like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's my answer.
Anyway,
but yo, wow. But
hey, go to imixwhatilike.org. We got some classics with Dr. Montero. Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a minute. Anyway, my bad, Kalanji. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm good. I had to clear my throat, brother. I was doing the
okay.
The joint.
Oh, that's that. What would we debate? The value of the Democratic Party? Honestly, I don't know. What would the debate be? I mean, I think Breonna Joy Gray is she's no dummy, and when it comes to defending like the Sanders position and all that stuff, I could appreciate her perspective on that. And I would actually, that was my contradiction, and I said it, if Sanders had won the nomination of the Democratic Party, I probably would have voted for the Democratic Party for the first time since 1992. Wow. But I also predicted he would never get close to winning the nomination. So it was kind of like a protected whatever. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm curious to know who are some of the folks that you would like, I mean, to the audience, who are some folks that you would like to see come on Black Power Media? Because, we've been reaching and trying to figure out what the deal is. So I don't know. What do y'all think about Pascal and Jed? I would
do that. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
Pascal's no dummy either. And I'll admit, I do not understand. I have not looked into. I do not understand what he raised the other day on my show when he popped on for a minute and said he doesn't believe in the existence of a Black community. And I know there's a more nuanced explanation, but I don't understand that. I'd be very interested in that.
Okay.
But anyway,
I can arrange that. It's probably not going to happen. I'd like to see that too.
Oh, that's not going to happen either. She's already refused it in terms of Yvette. Yvette has refused on a number of occasions, and in fact, walked away from a paycheck to avoid debating me. Her and Tone. You left on that one? That was too much. Kalaji left. And he mentioned the $8, you got a dip?
Oh, nah, I'm good. We've had Dr. Baruti. I had Mwala Baruti on Riot Stutter TV. So
and you had Brother Diallo on
yes, Diallo
Renegade Culture.
Renegade Culture, indeed.
Right.
I was out on.
I don't know what we would debate, by the way, if that was the suggestion. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I don't think those are debate. I think those are guests that they would like to see on.
I have been, Brother Irvin, I've been trying to reach out. I, at one point, thought I was close to having him, and Joy James wrote the foreword to his latest book. I was like, I thought we were going to have both of them on it, but so that wasn't for a lack of trying. We can come back to that for sure.
Right on.
But, Elaine Brown. I know you've got some Elaine stories. I definitely have Elaine Brown stories, and have interviewed her on my old radio show. I think there's some stuff on imixwhatilike.org. I have an in-person encounter with her in Atlanta. You're around your way some years ago. That is legendary.
Me as well.
I'm sure. But so yeah, I wouldn't be. I don't know where you stand on that. I wouldn't be
I'm
opposed.
cool.
I know she's often associated with controversy, but you know.
Yeah, nah, I like I said, man, you know, in the mortal words of your man Flex, I like to answer people's demands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I like to answer people's demands. Like, you know,
I would like to hear from her. I thought her critique of the Judas Judas and the Black Messiah film was right on point. Irritated Genie. Now, I don't know if this was an interview or debate suggestion. I don't know. We would have to have a talk first about how he set me up and put me in one of his Jared is down for the gay agenda videos. Because he showed up at an event I was doing that was supposed to be a discussion of Pan-Africanism. It was me and Ray Winbush having a discussion in Baltimore at Brother Jabari, one of Brother Jabari Natour's events.
Shout out to Jabari. In fact,
shout out to Jabari
from what's that? Soul Survivor Nation.
Soul Survivors Nation, and now we definitely disagree on Boyce Watkins. That's his man, but you know, much love to him anyway. But Irritated Genie showed up and was in the back with Leonard Jeffries. I remember this. And during the Q&A, he and I knew what was happening. I just didn't feel it was avoidable. He asked me, what do you think? The question was something like, do you think LGBTQ members should be included in the Pan-African community? Something like that.
Right.
And I was like, of course. I was like, Pan-Africanism is African people. And you know, it doesn't matter the sexual orientation of the gender, blah, 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 blah. He clips that. And I knew what was happening. I just was like, but I got to answer it correct. You know, he clips what I said, puts it on YouTube with the tagline, Jared Ball and the gay agenda or something like that. And you know, I was like, so we could start there, but I wouldn't be opposed to him coming on the platform.
Okay. That's I know him and Kaba runs together, you know. Shout out to Kaba. You know.
Be careful what I say, huh? Okay. Partner. Oh yeah, shout out to Brother Kaba, who unfortunately, man, his schedule has pulled him away from popping up on our show, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had to you know.
So he's trying to he's trying to pedal off the show, man.
That's how they do, man. That's how they do, man. Take, you know, they take our launching pad and move on to brighter pastures, man. Now that he's all big and famous.
Why Kaba? Anyway.
You know, they had to move on. Reef is wilding in the chat, boy. I tell you what,
man. We not about to be playing into no beef, so y'all go ahead on with that, man.
It was funny. Yeah, it's out there somewhere. One of his videos, I popped up on something, and he clipped the audio from my answer, and you know, put that on there. I was like, all right, that's funny, but you know, Wilmer Leon is cool, man. I've been on his platform a number of times. He supports Tom Porter as well. I don't have no, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Wilmer Leon.
Now, I was invited to sit down with Dr. Umar 2 years ago now? Is it a year and a half ago in Philly? And he canceled at the last minute. So I went up there and sat down. We did a piece with Brother Kemet Shockley and Omawale, Africa. But so I don't know why he didn't show up, but I have since seen on a video even recently where Umar Johnson. So if you saw the video where that the very famous black YouTuber Dejion or Jadion or something like that, who does these like semi-comical like run-ins with people, I don't really, you know, but he apparently tried to pay Umar Johnson $500 for an interview, and then Umar ghosted him. So he showed up at an Umar event, and you know, he's demeaning Pan-Africanism. But he put on an African, some African clothing, shows up at Umar's event, and then waits for the event to be over, goes up to Umar afterwards, shows him a picture of his phone of his white girlfriend, And Umar starts joking him about having a white girlfriend. And then he asks, why, you know, I paid you $500, you never did the interview. Umar, you know, denies it or whatever. And then, but Umar says something like, I don't want to be around black men who would have mixed kids or who would be with white women, something like that. So I started to think maybe that was his logic. And to be perfectly fair, if his logic is, I do not engage mixed folks or black people who are either with white women, would be with white women, or who would create offspring with white people, then it would be perfectly consistent that he would not want to sit down and engage me. But so I don't know if that was the reason, but
he wouldn't want to engage you because you have a white parent. Is that what you're saying? Or
what he said in the video, like he said to the guy, like, I don't want to be around black men who create mixed kids or something like that, or who are mixed, something to that effect. So he was basically like, I don't engage people who either come from interracial relationships or who are proponents of interracial relationships. You know, so you know, anyway, it's just a guess, but I'm just wondering. But the point is, I did try to debate him. I was willing to do that.
I'm still stuck on the folks talking about paying to be interviewed. You know, I don't listen, man. I don't know what y'all do. I don't know where y'all from, but I ain't playing no damn body to interview them. I mean, what type of shit is that? Who are you supposed to be? I know I interview some of the best of our best. You understand what I'm saying? And they haven't been paid. I'd be damned if I'm gonna pay someone that you know that I mean, like, come on, man, fuck out of here. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't even think people approach me like that. With the exception of your homegirl from Uncle Nearest, who told me to get wait till I get 1 million views. Did. You know what I'm saying? So that's about the only person that approached me like that.
My bad. I didn't even realize we've come to the end of the show. I was having so much fun.
It's all good in the hood, man. But yeah, you all check us out tonight, man. 7 p.m. right here on Black Power Media. Again, we'll have Dr. Wesley Muhammad on here, and you know, we're gonna talk about what's going on. You know what I'm saying, and you know what the deal is with this assassination of Malcolm, and we'll see what we get out of it. We'll skin it and see what's in it. And so we implore you all to come on and come with your questions as well, because I'm sure the chat will be filled with supporters of Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and I'm sure the chat will be filled with supporters of BPM and Baba Zach Kondo, etc. So, you know, we're gonna have a good time tonight. Make sure you join us. And,
absolutely. And folks, you know, please do like, share, subscribe, and invite other people to join you for these Boom Bap breakfasts and all that other good stuff, and let folks know what's going on around here. And definitely come on back tomorrow, same time, same channel for that good stuff. And
they survived with both of us, though, Jay. You think
we made it through, man?
Did it work for y'all? Were we able to pull it off, or what, man? I mean, you know,
I certainly had a really good time. Yeah, I'm saying
I was cool in the gang, man. So you know,
yeah. I enjoyed it. So shout out to the remixers. Appreciate you all coming through, keeping the chat as lively as ever. Peace to the ear doctor. Safe travels. Peace to May, Erica, the entire Remix BPM crew. To you, Kalanji, and everybody out there, because I know you all will fight for it. So as Fred said, to you we can say peace. So peace, everybody.